Told Iran's foreign minister about Israel's covert missions in Syria. And now there are calls, as we heard Emerald say, for an investigation, some calling for Kerry's resignation. Joining us to discuss is former member of the Trump 2016 Foreign Policy Advisory Board and 2006 Nobel Peace Prize nominee and author of the book Election Heist, Ken Timmerman. So, Ken, hopefully you were listening to some of what Emerald had to say there, really spreading like wildfire what Kerry may or may not have done during the Trump administration. What do you think should happen? Should there be an investigation? How should he be held accountable, or should he?
Yes, there should be an investigation. Yes, he should be held accountable. And that was a great report by Emerald Robinson from the White House. I've got to say, she really touched the most important bases. Look, we've known about John Kerry's close personal relationship with Javad Zarif for many, many years. It has long been rumored that Zarif's son came to Kerry's daughter's wedding. Remember, Kerry's daughter married an Iranian American. And that was a big deal when he was Secretary of State. It should have actually had an implication right then on a security clearance. John Kerry's denials that he revealed U.S. secrets to Javad Zarif are about as convincing as Al Capone telling you he never heard of the mob.
Yeah, and if he's still getting intelligence briefings, even when he's not in office, and he's sharing those with Iran, as far as what Israel is doing, Israel effectively is representing us in that theater, in that area of the world. So that's essentially telling secrets from us, correct?
Well, we'd have to see. There has to be an investigation to see exactly what John Kerry said to Zarif. I believe that there will be text messages that can be retrieved. I think that Kerry is not the only current Biden administration official who had these back-channel negotiations or conversations with senior Iranians during the final years of the Trump administration. I think you're going to be surprised if this kind of investigation gets going to see who else was also talking to the Iranians and what kind of things they were revealing to them, for example, about U.S. security procedures at the embassy in Baghdad. Remember, it was the embassy in Baghdad that was attacked over New Year's in 2000, just before Trump left office in 2020. 2 days later, the U.S. retaliated by killing Qasem Soleimani, the top terrorist in Iran. And that was a very, very significant event. If we had not done that, I believe that the Biden team would have used that as an October surprise against Trump during the election. So there's a lot more going on here, Bob, and I would like to see a significant, serious, probing investigation of Kerry and others in the Biden administration.
Ken, as you mentioned, this isn't the first that anyone has heard of back-channel communications being done during the Trump administration over the Iran nuclear deal, because we've heard about that. There have been calls for an investigation. Why hasn't that happened so far?
Well, that's a good question. I think you've got to ask Republicans in Congress when they had control in 2018 and 2019 why they didn't investigate Kerry, why they didn't investigate Senators Chris Van Hollen of Maryland and Coons of Delaware, who publicly met. First, they denied it, and then they admitted that they met with Zarif in Munich during the Munich Security Conference in 2018 or 2019. So I think you've got to ask certain Republicans in Congress who were at the Senate Foreign Relations Committee and the Intelligence Committee why they didn't investigate already at that time.
Ken, I'm somebody that gets into political conversation, including international affairs, but the average person doesn't get that caught up in it. So as we're talking about some of these technical issues and investigating and talking about intelligence briefings and everything, can you bring it home to the average person in our country why these things matter so much?
Look, this is serious stuff. During World War II, they had big posters all over the country, loose lips sink ships. The message was very clear. If you divulge national security information that you have access to a potential foreign adversary, you can get Americans killed. We came very close to getting Americans killed in Baghdad, in the embassy, in over New Year's of 2020. It was this close to Americans getting killed if President Trump had not responded vigorously, first by moving 200 U.S. Marines from Kuwait up to Baghdad to protect the embassy, instead of doing what Hillary Clinton and Obama did in Benghazi, we would have had casualties. There would have been blood on the floor. They were already inside. So loose lips sink ships. You do not divulge U.S. national security information to a foreign adversary, as apparently Mr. Kerry did.
Ken, if an investigation is launched, which I don't think it will, but if one is, should he still be in place as the climate czar for the Biden administration, or should he be immediately removed while an investigation happens?
Look, let's talk about reality, and then let's talk about what we'd like to see happen.
Right.
If we lived in a great country that still respected this kind of thing and patriotism, John Kerry would have no business in government. But, you know, he's had a relationship with Iran that goes back many, many years. I wrote many years ago in the American Spectator about his fundraising in the Iranian-American community going back to 2004, led by an Iranian government agent in California, and somebody that the FBI knew was an Iranian government agent. He posed for photographs with this person. Joe Biden did the same thing. Unfortunately, we now live in a country that does not have the same standards of patriotism that they had when I was growing up.
All right. Well, Ken Timmerman, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Right.
God bless.
Well, coming up, wokeness on the world stage is